Well, hello and welcome to another video by Financial Learning. On today's video, we're going to take a look at 15 publicly traded Bitcoin mining stocks. We're going to be comparing them against the short interest with respect to free float, and then we're going to take a look at the sector as a whole. And then after that, we're going to look at the top 5 most shorted Bitcoin mining stocks for the week of March 21st. So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, and first thing that we're going to look at is going to be the overall Bitcoin mining sector. We're going to be comparing week closing of March 21st with closing week of March 14th. We're going to be comparing the short interest percent as well as the free float value and the overall number of shares shorted. We're going to be comparing that weekly delta on the overall Bitcoin mining sector. And we're also going to be looking at these top 15 publicly traded stocks. We're going to be ranking them compared to that short interest percent with respect to free float. And the first column I want to talk about for that is going to be that last price. And these stocks that did close positive on the day are going to be green. The ones that close negative on the day are going to be red. And I'm talking about the end of trading day on Friday, not including after hours. Moving over into share short value, and short percent, these cells that are highlighted green mean that the short interest percent did grow for that trading day, and the ones that are red means that the short interest did get reduced. Moving over into free float, these columns that are yellow means that there has been a change in the free float value compared to 1 week prior, and then the overall free float value is going to be calculated based on the free float number of shares multiplied by the last price. So comparing the overall sector, first thing I want to point out is that there was a drop in free float value of about $30 million, and that comes out to about 0.17%. So the overall Bitcoin mining sector did see a drop in value. And looking at the overall short percent for the sector, it did get reduced by 0.16%. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at the top 5 most shorted Bitcoin mining stocks for the week of March 21st. Coming in at number 5 on our list is BTDR, that is ticker symbol BTDR. They had a short interest with respect to free float of 19.45%, and this would be for that Thursday trading period. We'll take a look at Friday in just a moment. But looking back 1 week prior on Thursday, it was at 19.05%. So an increase on short interest percent with respect to free float for BTDR. Moving over into days to cover, currently at 2.48 days, and the utilization sitting at 84.62%. So pretty high there for BTDR. Moving over to short score, it's at 71.54, and then jumping down to the bottom left, you can look at the price chart for BTDR. I'm going to have this price chart for each of these different companies. I won't be referencing them again, but just wanted to have it there for your reference. You can see exactly how these companies did trade over about the last month or so. And moving over into that live short interest data, this is going to be that estimated Ortex data for Friday trading period. And this is going to be the short interest with respect to free float for BTDR. They have 19.45%. So it did not change compared to that Thursday trading period. And looking at Interactive Brokers short availability, last reported shares available at 450,000 with a cost to borrow at 0.67%. And coming in at number 4 on our list is RIOT Platforms, that is ticker symbol RIOT. They had a short interest with respect to free float of 25.28%. Looking back 1 week prior was at 25.4%. So a slight decrease in terms of short interest with respect to free float. Their days to cover currently at 2.87 days, and moving over into utilization, sitting rather low at 49.54%. And just to remind everyone, utilization would be the number of shares shorted divided by the overall number of shares available on loan. And the short score is at 69.7. Moving down into live short interest data for RIOT, and this would be that estimated Friday data by Ortex. We're looking at the short interest with respect to free float. It's sitting at 25.28%. So it actually looks like the same as Thursday. However, there was a slight number of additional short interest shares being added. So I went ahead and tagged this one green when we're looking at the overall sector. And taking a look at the Interactive Broker shorts availability, last reported shares available sitting at 1.2 million with a cost to borrow at 0.57%. And coming in at number 3 on our list is Mara Holdings. That is ticker symbol MARA. They had a short interest with respect to free float of 25.95%. Looking back 1 week prior was at 24.88%. So a slight increase on short interest with respect to free float for Mara. Moving over into days to cover, currently at 2.31 days, and utilization sitting rather high at 84.67%. The short score for Mara is at 74.85. Then moving into Friday, this is that estimated live short interest data, and this is that Ortex data for short interest with respect to free float. It's sitting at 25.94%, so a very slight decrease in terms of short interest with respect to free float for Mara. And take a look at Interactive Broker shorts availability. Last reported shares available at 1.7 million with a cost to borrow at 0.53%. And coming in at number 2 on our list is TeraWulf. That is ticker symbol WULF. They had a short interest with respect to free float at 28.59%. Looking back 1 week prior was at 28.9%, so a slight decrease in short interest with respect to free float. Moving down into days to cover, currently at 1.94 days, and utilization sitting at just 66.13%. Short score for TeraWulf is at 68.13. Moving down into that live short interest data, this is that short interest percent with respect to free float. This is that Friday trading period. Ortex estimates coming in at 28.72%. So a slight increase in short interest percent with respect to free float for TeraWulf. And looking at the Interactive Broker shorts availability, last reported shares available at 5.8 million with a cost to borrow at 0.51%. And coming in at number 1 on our list for the most shorted Bitcoin mining stocks for the week is going to be CleanSpark. That is ticker symbol CLSK. They had a short interest with respect to free float at 29.32% for that Thursday trading day. Looking back 1 week prior was at 29.3. So an ever so slightly increase on short interest percent with respect to free float for CleanSpark. Moving over into days to cover at a very high 3.43 days. And moving over into utilization, sitting at a high 83.25% and a short score of 73.96. Moving down into live short interest, this would be that short percent with respect to free float. This is that Ortex estimated Friday trading data. They had an estimated 29.53% short interest, and that would be an increase compared to that 1 day prior. And taking a look at the Interactive Broker short availability, last reported shares available at 2.1 million shares and a cost to borrow at 0.56%. All right, and that about wraps it up for me, folks. I hope you enjoyed this quick update on the Bitcoin mining sector. As a whole, we took a look at the short interest percent. We compared this week's trading data with last week's data, and then we took a closer look on the top 5 most shorted Bitcoin mining stocks. So if you did like this video, consider giving it a like. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Make sure to turn notifications on so that you get the latest updates as soon as they become available. And go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts about the Bitcoin mining sector. Do you think that it is over? Will we continue to see this short interest pressure on these stocks and on this sector? Or will we see some relief in the weeks to come? Love to hear your thoughts on that. And with all that being said, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.